So you really can go far, and that's just it. Support. We continue to need to have it because it'll only keep growing.
Confidence is key. You got confidence, it can take you really anywhere in life. For me, well, it kind of tapers off. But, you know, sometimes I got that confidence. Enigma, I appreciate the gas whenever you do give it to me. Dantro, you always keep me level-headed, and I appreciate you for that. Job. That is quite literally your job. It was in your contract. Let's talk about how today is going to work out. Again, we've got 2 days of competition. Today is only day number 1. You'll get to see all 40 trios once again competing, 120 players. They're playing for points this time around to lead into tomorrow. Tomorrow is 150 points. However, first place today walks away with 40. That gets you that much closer. I believe we said 23-something%. I don't know what it was. I don't do math.
It was 26.4%, but I don't think we can understate how important getting those 40 points. As a quick reminder, 2nd through 5th will be getting 30 to start day number 2. It is really clutch that you actually...
Salve, salve, galera. Tô voltando aqui pra fazer a transmissão do Campeonato Mundial.
And I'm like, brother, you're letting SSD start with potentially plus 40 when we're trying to get to 150?
Yeah.
Insane that we kind of even chopped that.
Some people were, I think, reposting them during their polls check, during their podcast, which, by the way, love. Been listening to that every time I take a shower. I think to myself, they're like, dude, this could be ended in, it wasn't a weird statement, just roll by. I think to myself, like, they were like, dude, this could end in 3 games. 3 games, maybe 4. I'm thinking we go 8. I'm hoping we get 12, maybe even 20. Well, 20 would be a lot, but I hope we at least get 8, and there's a good reason for that. Me and Gozer, we're talking about that. But 3 games would be absolutely nothing. You're right. It could be a death sentence to give SSD, Team Falcons, right, that 40-point lead going into the next day. But enough about the trios. Let's talk about the solos, because Solo YOLO is back. $50,000 going to the winner, and each and every year Solo YOLO has been around. Well, it has not disappointed. Dream, there it is, Scump winning the first. And
quero ver se os BR vão fazer vexame hoje, mano. Será possível que o Brasil vai...
Oh, that was a blast from the past, because that was insane how much that had happened there. But Solo YOLO severely intense, and we saw back in the day both regions were playing collectively online. So this is actually Chow taking it for the European region, and oh my gosh,
with the riot shield.
Yeah, right. We saw a lot of riot shields and people ducking in corners, but it's literally stay alive.
Espero que os BRs não façam feio, mano.
I think as an EMEA fan, this is something I'm extremely excited for this year. Yeah, we can see about Chow there, but also FIFA Kill flew over to North America, won it over there, and there's been 2 Solo YOLOs in Urzikstan.
Sure.
Juki's won one very recently there, as well as Enkyo picking up one earlier on in the year. So personally, I'm really looking forward to this event.
I am as well. It's always so fun to see the teams break apart, and last year was just absolutely nutty, watching Skullface win in the way that he did. I believe in that gulag, that famous gulag against Shifty, was
Sage.
Sage.
Yeah, Sage giving the gulag to Skullface, saying, no, listen, I just won the whole event. I'm giving it to my boy. Skull gets back on in and goes on an absolute run of just big brain thinking to clutch it on up. But we got to talk about, too, remember who came in 2nd and 3rd in that? Soka and Breadman, who are here today as well. So I'm looking towards some of this. This was insane. Part of Warzone history, dude, just being able to play up there, bait both of them on in. It was just insane. I love that we have all these players competing today. It is just one of my favorite things of the World Series of Warzone.
Without a doubt. Now, I love Redman, but it was sweet justice to see the Riot Shield lose that 1v1 at the end. First place, $50,000. I actually love that we just did zeros for everybody else, just in case you didn't realize only first place gets $50,000. So if you're second, you're the first loser out there. I'd much rather just be the first one out at that point in time to be that close. No, $50,000, that's a lot of money. We're in the right place, actually, to earn that money, put it all on red. That's my strategy out there. Solo YOLO's back. Can't wait to see how that's going to go. Dandro, I actually hope that we bring in the wheel again, dude, right, to kind of see, because that's how we predicted.
I'm like really hoping for that, because last year we spun it, and I got DJ Moss, and I was hyping up my boy. And I was like, yeah, and I want to get it again. DJ, his whole family's here. Huge shout out to Maddie and his family for coming in from Ohio. Love that they are here. DJ's one of my boy, and I think he can also pull out the Solo YOLO. That guy, he's a little bit of a nerd. He's real cool, calm, collected, but he's like, I know the spots. I know the tricks. Don't worry, I got it. And I think he's going to really perform well. The wheel was very fun. Production.
It was.
Please bring the wheel back.
I hope we do. Or at least polls check, they can maybe implement that in their own product. You know, when I think about families, though, you mentioned DJ Moss. We had a chance to actually talk to him yesterday when we were leaving the arena, and he's like, yeah, my whole family's coming. And I said, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Because, you know, we talk about esports, and it's passion-based, and it really is, but it can be tough to do, right? So that family support takes you quite a long way, and there's a lot of here supporting, right? Maybe their son, maybe their daughter, right? So you never know who's going to be out there in the chat, T, right? It's going to be a good time. It really is. I know everybody's going to get loud. SSD, obviously, they have the biggest chip on their shoulder. They look like to be the most dominant team. FIFA, he was catching strays during the interviews. The question is, could he, along with all the Lennon, that's a big question because there's some big names. Last year wasn't the best either. But there's a lot of questions. I'm wondering how it's all going to unfold. For Miles, though, he's out there on the stage. Let's hear what Zeppa.
Okay.
Oh, good day, mates. How we doing? Very excited, though. Zeppa, mate, how you been? It's been, mate, last time I saw you, gosh, can't remember now, but you've been out to the US so often recently. How you been?
Pretty good, yeah. We just finished a 3-week boot camp. So, yeah, we're feeling really prepared and keen.
Keen seems to be the keen thing here. Everyone's keen. You've got to be raring to go. We're almost ready to get into the first game, but how has that practice been? Obviously, coming from down under, it's not as easy to compete online, but are you...
Mano, eu vou torcer pros BR, mas também eu vou torcer pro Adrian, mano. Eu quero que o Adrian ganhe, mano.
It's not as strong as it is over here, so that's how we had to move here. But yeah, we've improved a lot.
O trio dele é muito bom, velho.
Got some pretty solid placements.
Espero que o Adrian faça um bom campeonato.
You guys have had solid performances throughout the year. Is there any teams here that you've kind of got any beef with, or anyone you're worried about, or you really want to put them down?
No, the team that we have beef with didn't even qualify, so yeah.
Fair, mate, that's fair. Anything you want to say to the fans back home watching from Australia?
Appreciate all the Aussies supporting us. It means the world. And yeah, we hear you all.
Loud and clear, mate. Thank you so much. Good luck. We'll see you in the game. Desk, it is back to you.
Thank you very much there. Miles Zeppa looking to go big. Australia, man. You know, it's interesting going all the way back to when I started in 2012 and thinking about Australia, Mind Freak, and those, you know, kind of competitors and the ping difference. And you got players like Chrissy, for example, who was competing last year during the qualifiers. She moved over from Australia, I believe, to Canada, if I'm not mistaken, to play. She actually almost made it to the global stage. Signal queen, as far as I'm concerned, back in the day, right? But love to see Zeppa out there representing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things with this Na'Vi squad that was very impressive at the Esports World Cup was their positioning. They unfortunately fall a little bit short, but I think that with these Australians, we talk about the ping difference and such that they have to deal with online. On land, they have a really solid fundamental play about them. They put themselves in the right spot very often. Sometimes struggle to see that out, but it does mean that they're getting themselves into that higher multiplier, and they're never shy of taking gunfights. They're picking up kills along the way. So I am actually very excited to see that squad do something. I know you're going to try and say that they're one of the NA teams, but I can share a little bit of love with them because they're part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah, and wasn't Zeppa 2 last year the only player, I believe, from that region to qualify for both champs on the multiplayer side and for World Series of Warzone?
That's
so
huge.
For these guys, I mean, yeah, you'd love to see that. But the resilience from that player, from Zeppa, that's amazing.
Resiliency is key, right? And we see these players consistently be resilient on stage, taking a tough loss, snapping back right to the next game. And game number one. Is game number one about to get started? Hey, let's get loud in the arena. Game number one is about to get started. 2024 World Series of Warzone Global Finals is about to be underway. I could not be more excited. All these teams are raring to go, and so am I. So without further ado, let's head over to our casters, Spider, Tiff, and Goj.
Wow, thank you so much, Desk. Hey, good afternoon, Vegas. It's great to be here. I'm Goj, this is Tiff, and Tiff, I'm just excited to get into the game. We're here, finally. It's time, and the first game's about to drop.
Yeah, it really is, and I couldn't be more excited to see all of the players that are just here in LAN, in person, the rivalries that have developed, and who knows what we're going to see. Some are calling it potentially a last dance effort out of a dynasty, and, well, you better cement it first.
Yeah, the Desk talked about it ad nauseum, and I think it's worth mentioning again. The Falcons are the team to beat right now, but this is still day one, so this is really setting the tone for what we're going to be seeing for the rest of the competition. Folks, if you've ever watched a Call of Duty broadcast I've been a part of, I always use this term, the litmus test.
Does.
Let me burn it now, the litmus test. This is the time to see what the lobby will play like. As we're getting into our first drop here, every team will play different on LAN. Every team will play a little bit more aggressive or a little bit slower. So this very first map, everybody gets to decide what type of player they are and what type of team they are.
Oh, and I can just feel all all of the energy just kind of roaring up as we're getting to look at Urzikstan. Like you said,
Meu Deus, deve ser um sonho realizado na vida do Nano,
those
velho.
advanced starting
O
points.
cara deve estar feliz pra caralho, mano, ter chegado aí, velho.
150, but let's say you come out on top today. Those 40 points are beyond such a good game and can be such a boon to teams that may have struggled over
Sonho
the
de
past
uma
couple
vida,
of months
mano.
to get to that threshold.
It's such a good shout. I mean, today is so incredibly important, and I think when we think
Conseguiu realizar, mano, o sonho.
about this game, we are dropping into it. Now's the time to set the tone. Everything you have on the line, folks. It is time for our very first drop of the day.
Seus Uzbequistão, hein? Galera, eu vou deixar o link do Discord na descrição. Se quiser entrar comigo pra comentar aqui a Campeonato Mundial, é só entrar, fechou?
We always want to see what's going to occur, especially with the battle of high-rise noobs. Steve-O, Patsuka is already getting mixy, but you got to check behind you.
Geral ranked.
National has came with hands.
Well, welcome to High Rise, folks. As expected, this is hot to
Eu
start.
espero que os brasileiros não façam feio, mano. Não façam vergonha, né?
Patsuka and Noob's team catching the wrong end of that fight. That is a brutal start for a squad that a lot of folks expected to do
É porque
fantastic.
estão representando a comunidade BR, né, mano?
Having to be off to the races, running through this side of apartments, and I think Dongi, Unrational are hunting their prey.
I was really curious if we were going to see maybe a waving of the white flag to try and determine, hey, we value our life because this is the points race. This is where we just need to acquire as many eliminations as you can. So they're kind of separating them back. Unrational going just towards the north, finishing up that kind of place. But there's so many teams that land over in this quadrant of Urzikstan that you have to be hyper aware of. They all know that that contest was initially happening. And if you separate out too far, Nida can easily run straight into Unrational, but Scummin, good things coming back over.
Yeah, folks, again, the litmus test. Apparently, Unrational and Scummin said, well, the best games we have is when we fly at teams. So already getting into the mix and winning that high-rise spot. We talked to Scummin before the broadcast, and he said, don't worry, we're going back to high-rise and we're going to win it. And apparently that's the case. A massive victory there, but we move to another side of the map. This is Seatown. Now, this fire station area is an interesting one. There's a lot of teams that like to land on this side of the map as well, especially with a team like Team
Tá mostrando como é que vai ser a dinâmica, né?
through this qualifying series, but a lot of their players made it to this stage. A lot of these drop spots are up for grabs, and because of that, a lot of things have changed in the last couple days. But we are here with our APAC team, who is apparently doing pretty well so far, looking like they've got a decent amount of resources.
See, I was really curious because I was watching the Pulse Check IRL stream just yesterday, and Shifty was talking about how XTH was willing to land on them over at Pop-Off Power. And they're like, let it be. Let it be that free elimination that we need to kickstart our World Series of Warzone. We will force them to leave. And quite frankly, they're sitting right next to each other on the stage.
Yeah, and I think the low-risk play there of landing more towards the middle of the map is definitely the way to go rather than heading up to Popov. I can only imagine Popov is all quiet on the northern front of this map, and I think the Falcons are walking away with 40, 50K likely. But to the bridge we go over here on Seaside, and well, one of the only other teams that we expected to have a ton of chemistry because of their long storied history as a trio, looking to find a couple freebies in the ocean as folks are rotating out and getting fried because of it.
Well, Bagel over here just getting absolutely wild, but I like that we're not overextending, but keep your eyes on Tabulator. Dandro was talking about on the desk, has been kind of saying a lot on the timeline, right? I've got a lot to prove, and we are seeing a flank. Megalodon in the water. Don't let yourself get wrapped like that, Bagel. Don't.
Yeah, slowly but surely, we're just going to protect our flank right now, like you said. We've got a long way to go. Again, we got a quick view of the map, and it is headed towards, at least somewhat, towards the eastern side. So we're going to continue to move on and take a look at the rest of this map as we're continuing to hunt our prey. But we're going to move around and see what's going on. A couple things I noticed. Those that are Cloud9 fans with Jowo's squad, it seemed like they headed more centrally located than usual. They are not on that side of the map. So instead, they're going to be landing over towards Old Town, Low Town area and moving down to the south. But we move over to Pentagon, who's apparently found some prey of his own, especially with Fuzzin up on high ground. This is a nice pinch they're setting up.
Yeah, it really is, right? And this is one of those squads that has been landing down towards this area for the dawn time, but Erickson already down on the ground. Nano
Meu Deus, caiu do time do Nano, mano.
put some pressure on. I hear the buyback, and now Pentagon Fuzzin
Nano versus 2.
in looking for Nano, and that will likely be a cleanup. For Wars, Louis CM, Bubble CT, a massive squad, and well, I know the dust didn't touch on this, and this one's for you, Wars. You're washed.
What?
Não deu chá o time do Nano,
I want
mano.
to say it once.
Dang, said he's
Just once.
washed. Worst performance
Foram
on LAN. I don't know about
detonados,
that.
No,
mano.
it's all part of the ritual. You just gotta let it happen.
The reverse Cassigress. Here's a quick look at our map, by the way. As expected, to the eastern side, to maybe farms we go, to the south side of military. Oftentimes see these circles end up somewhere near Superstore. Welcome back to the map, by the way, Superstore. We'd love to have you around these parts since we're dance, but we take a look at it and look at a couple of these squads. Number 1 is the one I want to highlight in the red on the right-hand side. That is Omit EU. This is Ankyo, Grom, Heat. This is one of those teams that a lot of folks on Twitter were saying this is one of the best squads here. We expect them to be top 5, and as expected, they are playing for end of game already. They are prepared and waiting for their prey. That does likely mean they have a very low amount of kills, though.
That's very true, but when you start looking at circles initially like this, start thinking of military base, because a lot of those teams, they're going to rotate in from the north and look to clean that all out. Specifically, Dongi, right? Getting another squad wipe, sending more people straight to that gulag, but we have to think about that initial public event, the fire sale that occurs at the top of every Circle 3. A lot of teams will look to get a lot more hyper aggro in that moment, and especially a team that's already got a few eliminations and not afraid to fight. This one on your screen, Team Community.
Look, at the end of the day, any team that has a great start usually has a great finish in a game like this. And so because this team was able to win high res, they're able to rotate over here to Opera. They could keep looking for kills. They know what they can do from a kill and slaying potential. The question is, can they get their multipliers? This is a really good team. Up until the last couple weeks or so, everybody said that's team number 2. And now maybe falling into the top 5, top 10, but I still believe them to be one of the best teams here. But to Silo we go. And I'm going to be honest, it's good to see flanked on LAN again, this time with Gabe and Blast. And this Gabe, Kuhn, if you don't know Gabe, this is one of those players, some rumors out there of a rookie of the year. I know those questions are in the air.
You're not
Gabe
wrong.
is very, very talented. The question is, how long will his leash be? And apparently not all that long. Grabs an ATV, is going to go catch up with his team.
Well, he's one of those players that has been talking a lot about how he wants to be the next up, the very best that has ever touched Warzone, and he's definitely on that right path. But when you think about Bazaar in general, this fight has been occurring every single time, but the fact that we're 7 minutes into this game and we are still getting Mixie at Bazaar, I mean, it makes sense considering where the circle is pulling, but now it's just getting personal.
Look, I gotta say, if you're not tuned into the Twitter beef between these two teams that land Bazaar, you should tap in. It is egregious at this point. And frankly, the team on your screen right now has lost most of those encounters up until recently, and apparently recency bias pays off in kind, because Bazaar is theirs right now. And look at this Omit NA squad, a ridiculously aggressive rotation. As a reminder, folks, this Omit NA squad with Brax, a top 10 team in my opinion, a very strong team, frankly probably a really good team on LAN. They start in the northwestern side of the map, and they've rotated all the way to Bazaar already here in our second circle.
Well, Volcom opens it up, knocks Juju, gets the full. Braxton comes in with the trade, but Panda on the inside gets absolutely laid out. In with a steel chair we go. But look at Resolve coming on back. This one's going to be bloody, and Panda's pretty much going to have to win that gulag because the reset is going to be on the hands of Resolve. But I'm surprised to see Omit NA kind of folding like that.
Yeah, they had a great setup, and I think they just got a hair too over-aggressive. Didn't have the third there to play trades. Resolve's able to get to the buy station, get his teammates right back into the mix. Brax and his team with Omit NA need to win their gulags and get back for free. And then again, this fight will continue. And well, look at the kill feed. Brax does not win, which means now they are player down. It is just Youngsters on main stage for the first time for World Series of Warzone, but a long storied player. I'm excited to watch Youngsters all day today. But to the Falcons we go, because the question is, where are they? How much money do they have? And how many kills have they found in Pop-Off? And right now, they're continuing to ward off any aggressive moves.
Do you know how many times I've watched the Falcons loot Pop-Off power? They walk out with $50,000, a backpack full of streaks, and ready to just get mixy. But this squad, I love to take the redeploy and get out of there, but they're just a hair south of where the Falcons are inevitably going to push across. They were back there towards that bridge with a mobile buy station to be able to acquire, whether it's more bunker busters, UAV, whatever is going to get them towards that next zone. And you already think if you're getting pressured from different angles here, we just need to get inside, stabilize, and figure out our next move.
Well, they had a chance to talk to Na'Vi not too long ago, and well, Na'Vi is nowhere to be found. They are running away from this fight. I think a player down, and as per the usual, folks, in the private matches like this, you're not 1v3ing very often. And it's 2v3s, even those are very difficult to win. So if you're in a true 3v3, sure, we're going to see some fun fights. But if you lose one, it's the signal flare for the team in the opposition to come flying at you, whereas your team usually tries to run away. This time, the runners were able to get away as we get some loot. Now, okay, this is a great call from you earlier, Tiff. This is our third circle. We're going to have some fire cells active. We're going to have a ton of UAVs in the air. We're going to have a lot of info. This is a great time for a lot of folks to get into the mix and find some kills.
It's true. I mean, a lot of people are going to use Ghost as their perks, and so you'll start seeing things like that. But Nano in the distance flank, maybe they want to get hyper aggro. It's that time to kind of let it all fly. But we got a chance to talk to Sage, Adrian, Swag just yesterday, and they and even honestly though, did you see Swag's post? He's like, look, I know I'm going to go play for $1 million, but it feels like I already won.
All right, FaZe. I'm excited to see them because at the end of the day, FaZe didn't get a lot of talk at the beginning of the show.
Tabacu do FPS.
A little bit more.
Ericzinho.
We have an interview with maybe the first team.
O time do Nano, meu Deus.
Gooey, first team to be eliminated here in the first map. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Nano já morreu, mano.
Right on, brother, as you should. Anything that went wrong, what's going to go wrong next time?
Bad contract spawns, and compared to where we usually land, it was...
Coitado do Tabacudo, mano. Ericzinho já era.
Mate, you'll get him next time. Just to remind you of that, we have a small medal for you.
Coitado do brasileiro, meu
Hopefully this is a good luck charm for you in the next one, man. Good luck.
Meu Deus. Foi destruído, velho.
Miles, all right. Better luck next time. I will.
Meu Deus.
Team North, first team out. However,
coitado dos brasileiros, mano.
Every game besides game 1 in the regional finals. So maybe they're just going to repeat history.
Estão tudo nervoso, mano.
Circle, folks. We're going to see.
Calma, BR.
Now, again, with this circle, all eyes on Team 1 in the red. That is only
Meu Deus.
you, Tiff, and they are just waiting for anybody.
O que tá acontecendo com os BR, hein, mano?
On that 5, the Falcons right there as well. They're kind of starting that. Now their matter of plan is to make sure that they clear out one side of this circle. So I think Amit EU moving in this early on, I'm hoping that they did it with enough cash and resources to be able to maintain it. Because yes, you can take a god tier position, but if you take it at the wrong time, it really doesn't pan out well for you.
Well, as per the usual, a couple different modalities here for some of our teams. Hunting the edge of zone, especially if maybe you're a western side team. It's probably going to be the name of the game, looking for a lot.
Sage é bom, hein?
On 3, by the way.
Malmo também é bom também, bom jogador.
The fact that we have all members of TBE here, all split up on different teams or coaching, they're still here. They always make their way to land, no matter what it takes. We move on to another fight as Gabe and Blast have gotten into the mix again with Na'Vi, and this time I guess it looks like Na'Vi might have a little bit of a boon on their side with a player advantage.
I don't know.
Os caras estão jogando muito, mano.
It's getting aggressive. Zeppa, they said they boot camped for 3
Meu Deus, os BR estão jogando muito mal, velho.
Third party, because if it's not a third party, it's not Call of Duty at this rate, and flanked in Gabe. Gabe in the gulag and flanked just trying to get away.
Yeah, it's a
representando o Brasil não, mano.
Vision squad that came in and said, yeah, we'll take
Eles estão representando o Brasil não, mano.
Again, a long way to go. Reminder, we took a look at the circle. It is headed towards the east. It is likely headed towards farms. This is military base still, so this is where this team drops. They've been fighting here since the very beginning of the game. And as we're moving into 4th circle, they've got to get a move on. They've got to get some resources. Take a look at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen really quick. They have $1,300 to their name and probably not a lot of plates to go around. Hardly a gun to go around. This is going to be a brutal regain for this team. We are slowly but surely creeping into some multipliers as we are into the top 30 teams, which would be a 1.2.
Yeah, and that's going to be very vital here. You want to make your kills do all the work for you. A lot of teams will hit that average of 1.6, 1.8, but a top 5 will be incredibly vital. And if you look, we do already have some teams that are starting to make that work. We didn't really even get to talk too much about Team Echo because we haven't seen them just yet on the screen. And I would love to check in with them, right? Look,
Meu Deus, o que tá acontecendo com os BR, mano?
We've really found success. And honestly, if I say that he found success, he definitely carried me.
Bifo, Hisock e Shift, mano. Pra mim, super favorito esse trio aí, mano.
Up here at Academy, this is a fun spot for them.
O cara joga muito da defensiva, mano.
So let's see what Hisoka can do. Not a crazy amount of eliminations yet. You got to remember though, of this team, all 3 can be Slayers, just given whatever game they end up playing. I think it was Biffle who was easily the lowest amount of kills during regional finals, but in recent tourneys, Biffle rifle's been turning on the heat. So we'll see what they do. It looks like they've got about 9 or so across the board with a multiplier coming through. So about to find some double digits here shortly, but smartly not giving away a very strong position, holding several teams rotating in.
Well, hear me out. Shifty in a bush, just peeking. I want to listen in with them. Let's hear what the Falcons have to say.
You break it? No, I popped the tire though. Pop another one. I mean, that should be low shit. Gotta take the balloon. He's about back. Kid on the street too. Kid on the street. Kid on the street. Oh, left. They're fighting. Zip. 6 kids, bro. I'm looking right window. You see that zip? Shifty? Kid right here. Kid right here. In these bushes. 1 second, sir. 1 second, sir. On his block. Right here. Got that low left. Yo, low left. Swing. Watching. Got it right at us. Absolutely, he's behind something. They already swung the low. They're right. Look your right. I haven't looked right yet, D. Over here. We're smoking up on the right over here. Yeah, they're in the little divot. They're in the close divot. Sorry, one way to the backside. What about our left? What's our left looking like? We should swing the hill, no? Left, yeah. We can even take the balloon. Nah, let's run. Got clues out there. Sorry for that team that was on our left. Be up here. There's a kid up here. You can take the car. You got to reprint.
Well, a peek behind the curtain of one of the greatest teams to grace Warzone. We'll see if they can beat the greatest after this one. They need to get a first-round win to set the tone for this tournament. Some great IGL calls. They pick up double digits, and they move on their merry way. And again, somehow, I'm going to quote Dandro here, for free? There's nobody looking at this side of the map because, well, there's the out-of-bounds line. They are headed to the very edge of this map and find the wildcard team in transition. A couple knocks from distance going to open up this playing field for them even more to run down. This looks like we're storming some sort of like Greek mythology moment here. This is wild. They're about to run down a hill with nobody in sight.
No, they're just frolicking around Urzikstan. It is literally their playground and it's their world. We're just living in it. But that's just what they do. They clear out an entire side. But tell me we haven't seen this before, as we do see Team Aiden full squad wipe down to 17 kills. And honestly, that one on the overall standings, their first place, is running into some issues as also.
Okay, and again, as expected, we have headed to the far eastern side of this map as far as we can go and then some, right? And so if you know the Falcons, you know they want to find the win condition, and that means the win condition is the out of bounds line. They are playing for this. Team Clapper, they are right around the corner. They need this full wipe ASAP so they don't have anyone breathing down their necks, and they can set up for what's coming. There's a lot of teams headed their way soon in the next couple circles.
My man is like absolutely dancing around right now, and if you're going to be finessing this side of things, how? Oh, no. Like, I mean, we are just trying to solidify and find the thermites. This is where if you get
fenômeno, mano.
These hills, you are just losing soul.
Yeah, Rocket finally gets cut down, but it actually goes inside of JTech and B Mark. And now the Falcons lie in wait, and they know, hey, we're not technically in new, but we're close enough to make a play. So we head over to another wildcard team who's having maybe a bit better of a game. Now, this is such a fun conversation because last year, I'm going to put it frankly, our wildcard teams, they didn't perform on land. This squad, though, is one of those teams expected to do well in regional finals. They get bumped to LCQ, they struggle, they win the wildcard game, they go, well, we got to get in the lab, gentlemen. And finally, the last week or so, everything has started to click. They get a top 5 position in a recent tune-up tourney, and they're looking really strong right now. Take a look at the top middle of our screen. We blink, and we only have 10 squads left, folks. We are into a big multiplier here. 1.6 is kind of the minimum that you want. You got a decent amount of kills. This is a great game for this Nick Cool Colony 2K squad.
It really is, but unfortunately, you've got to get through this rotation, and when you're looking down the barrels at so many squads, even that Omid EU, yes, I was talking about that position they were in, but when they lose off that and they have to hit a rotation, investing a mortar to try and cause a bit of chaos to allow them to get on in. But keep an eye, Colony 2K, it's firing season. He isn't going to be able to get in on this.
Omid EU lying in wait, maybe waiting too long. Wait, with some help. finds a way in, barely, and a teammate's still alive. Omit EU is still in this thing, and they are about to secure a 1.8 multiplier. This is a key moment for all of our teams right now. 6 squads remaining. Everybody wants the 1.8. This is massive. He's get cut down. We've got Enkyo down below. We've made it to top 5. 1.8 multiplier is in play.
Omit NA down, Enkyo on the ground, finished there by Soka. The Falcons, they wanted to come in and cement that dynasty by opening things up with a solid performance here in match number 1, and they own all of the space on the map. FIFA kill over there in the distance, but this big fight here between JTech, BMark, Slide, this will determine it all. The final three, but JTech, he drops Soka. Shifty, you better answer back for that one.
You know what Slide, BMark, and JTech's name is? Revenge Tour, and they're on it. Shifty is in his bag, and he's finding some success in it. FIFA comes in, plays the third party perfectly to pick up a couple kills in rotation. FIFA still a solo, so we've got a 1v1, v2. The Revenge Tour has the chance to win it all here. The question is, will the third party be the difference maker? We just have to wait and see.
And you remember that interview with the Falcons? I think FIFA would be like, and I took that personally, but BMark still gonna catch it from the back, and we have a 2v1. We just gotta locate Shifty.
Slide goes to aggro, but comes in, BMark!
Meu Deus.
Is here. The Falcons fall in second with a massive game, but Revenge Tour says we're here to enact revenge. There is nobody cheering our name, and we are here to prove ourselves on land by winning the first map of the day.
Sometimes when you know that you have nothing to lose and everything to gain, because leading up to the World Series of Warzone, everyone talks about the Falcons. Even the desk was saying it. But you know what? Sometimes even gods can bleed. Like they said, chinks in the armor. But a 1.8 is still a crazy start considering how many eliminations they probably walked away with. But a 2x, even better.
You got to remember about this team too. They land like the very top left portion of the map. They had a crazy rotation, and because of it, they set themselves up with success by rotating early. That's what gave them this win. They got there when they needed it most, and then they won the 2v1. There is one thing to say about teams like this, Tiff. It's that when they know they have advantages and they actually push it, they play with confidence. Taking down arguably the best player in the game right now, 2v1, is still difficult, but having the confidence to know we will win that gunfight every single day of the week. Very well done for Revenge Tour.
Oh, look, I would be like losing my absolute mind on stage knowing that you just did that in game number 1, that litmus test that you were talking about, which means as we kind of look through this last stand, I think it paints that great picture. And shout out to Heeds there for taking my caster curse and just saying, eat it, bro. Like, I'm still getting out of here. Sure, we got a better multiplier and some more eliminations to go along with it, but it was that early rotation here out of Nickel and Colony 2K under the guise of the smokes to really allow them to try and find any of those eliminations while teams were later on that rotate.
Yeah, again, this wildcard team did a fantastic job to get here with a ton of eliminations as well. I'm really curious to know how many kills our Omit EU squad did find, because they did make it to 1.8 times multi, and a lot of folks think they are the number 2 to top 5 team here. But a final look at this fight, Hisoka, they had win condition, they had a great position. The problem is they lose one in this transition. Watch this move. When you lose Hisoka here, all of a sudden you're in trouble, and it's because Revenge Tour brought the LTV up. That allows BMark to take an off angle. It allows Slide to hide behind the vehicle and use it for cover. And then FIFA comes in and plays spoiler. It's the perfect third party from a storied Warzone professional of FIFA kill.
Yeah, and if I'm Revenge Tour, I know where that solo is. We've already accounted for them. And what I want to happen is to allow them to put extra firepower on, but to grab the LTV, to take that challenge, and then know that BMark has your back. It's like that diversion, and it was so executed well that, I mean, look, 2x multi, however many eliminations they've got, but I heard we've got some people to talk to, and I want to hear from the Revenge Tour themselves. Miles, what you got for BMark?
The moment we saw the highlights, man, congratulations on that first map win. How you feeling after that?
Feeling great. I feel like that's the perfect start we could have. That's the best start we could have asked for. Like, honestly, the adrenaline's going. My heart's racing 1,000,000 miles a minute right now. You know, our IGL Slide over there put us in the best spot to win the game early. We know this World Series is going to play way different than any other tournament, any other scrim. We're kind of chalking early kills a little bit and playing for endgame, and we know there's going to be a lot of freebies in the endgame.
You got the freebies, man. We saw the last play there with the LTV, dude, crushing it. Obviously, you said things are going to plan so far. I mean, where do you go from here? Do you still keep the aggression up? You still trying to maintain points, or you want to sort of cruise a little bit?
You know, I talked to my teammates before, and we talked about consistency. Consistency is going to be key all weekend, today, tomorrow. We just want to make it to endgame every game and try to keep that average placement up.
Beautiful. You got a lot of fans here in the crowd. There was a lot of noise when that win went through. What do you want to say to these guys?
I just want to say thank you to all my supporters, all our supporters, all the players here. This turnout is amazing. It's a surreal experience. I can't believe it.
They do. Thank you so much, Beams. Good luck. We'll see you in game 2. Desk, take it away.
All right, game number 1 has concluded, and what a game it was. Not only because it gave us a little bit of EMEA, actually quite a bit of that, we have to say. Falcons were also showing themselves. FIFA, we had a lot of conversation about them. They finished up in top 3, and, well, this team of Revenge Tour, take it all. Let's start there, right, Danjo? Revenge Tour, we're talking B-Mark, JTech, Slide. How impactful is it for this trio specifically to win game number 1 in World Series of Warzone?
This is just the ultimate confidence booster is what this really is, right? These are just 3 players who are coming together to really kind of showcase and shine. And I love, they kind of haven't really ever been respected, if I'm being honest with you. I just feel like they have to be able to keep up this consistency.
Sure.
But being able to win game number 1 in the global final, insane.
Well, let's actually go right back to you, Danjo, because early aggression is what we saw. We discussed maybe we see some slower moments. This game, nothing like that.
Yeah, Hardy's zone really just kind of comes together and forces a lot of these teams to eventually fight. We saw Falcons take that sort of power position over there at Academy, and just you watch them just basically have all of these kills funnel on into them. So many teams were able to do that. I was watching that kill feed, man, and it was just non-stop. I got a little intel saying scrims, players kind of figured out they can start kind of moving around the map maybe a little bit faster than they were used to.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm looking in particular at the EMEA squads that have done really well here and the depth that comes on through. This is what I was talking about at the top of the show. Omit EU, I think we're going to see a lack of kills come on through, but I'm really a big fan of their early rotation. I'm a big fan of where they were putting themselves. They were unlucky with the zone pull, so I think that's a big part of why we might not see them that high at the leaderboard, but they're doing the right things so far. But of course, would be amiss to not talk about Team FIFA Kill, right?
Yes.
Jinkies and Lennon, we see them there at the end, and they go big throughout that one. I said that they were coming into this with a plan, finally, and it looks like they have fixed the mistakes, that they had beforehand, and finally, Team Echo. They put a lot of kills early, and then their positioning onward from there was beautiful.
Revenge Tour, Slide, B-Mark, JTech, they take game number 1. I love the name. I like the interview from B-Mark. He's feeling confident. He's feeling good. A team that we didn't cover in Top of Show. There were so many greats to talk about. Well, we now need to start discussing them a bit more. Who knows where they're going to be on the leaderboard, but game number 1, it's got to make them feel good and feel confident. They weren't the only team, though, to do well, at least from the EMEA side. Who else should we be discussing?
Well, there were a lot of teams that we saw did pick up a lot of eliminations, and we were kind of talking about that, which teams fell off a little bit, but maybe, you know, not get that placing. But I was looking at Team Echo, Prodigy, Oki, and of course, Echo, of course. But no, the one thing that amazes me about this squad, of course, we saw that Oki on land before previously had went through some surgeries, right? Prodigy right now, he actually has an injury now. So he has a thumb injury. So this team, I don't know what it is with Prodigy and Oki. They're always going against some type of adversity. So it's like, oh my goodness, the fact that Prodigy was picking up eliminations with an injury on his thumb, his thumb is huge.
It looks, I was like, dude, did somebody hit it with a hammer? What happened? He's like, I actually don't know. The man woke up and his thumb is just as big as can be. But hey, apparently it didn't affect him whatsoever. They played incredibly well. Echo was a team that we were constantly highlighting, and for good reason. We talked a lot about that aggression. We talked a lot about zones. It's actually going to heat map up and see where a lot of those fights ended up taking place. Dandro, I'll have you handle this.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise here. We're looking at that Old Town, Low Town area there in the middle. A lot of players liking to kind of want to be able to sit in there. And when we kind of saw that zone pull to the East Coast, right, it's no surprise to see that this area kind of saw a lot of teams get caught, and especially down there in City. This is something that we see kind of time over time as players have to move through. You kind of have to pick, what island am I about to try and play for depending on where the zone is going, because you have to make these huge rotations across big open space, across open water, and you might get caught on that rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that Danjo brings up the water there, because you're going to see that essentially that northwestern island is pretty much is dead, because people did not want to get caught on the wrong side of that river, knowing that the zone zone was definitely not going to be up there. So they're rotating early. That's why you're seeing a lot of those kills in the middle of the map, because as Danjo points out, they're getting caught. But then also you're seeing a couple of teams try and hedge their bets about which island it would end up being on this eastern side, and you end up by the Abtal Academy, where of course it's going to be quiet until we get to our end stage, and then the Falcons and everyone else just lit it up.
Yeah, and that's really key, like, right, positioning. And as an even IGL player, we're really leaning on those players. Like, what should we do? What should we make the decisions? And we just heard B-Mark say it, right? We had a great player that told us, like, where we needed to go. But looking at that, getting set up early, I think it was 28, what was it, Zeppa? I think there was another team that actually got out of dodge, was able to get out of that action. So if you're a team that noticed, okay, there's a team set up early, how do we rotate? How do we finesse? It's just those in-game moments that really matter. That's going to make a team shine here today.
Well, let's talk about a team that did shine outside of Revenge Tour, who took game number 1, our second place team, which was Team Falcons. Okay, we get that nice open zone, but let's take a step back in time. Before that moment, Dandro, Falcons are set up quite nicely. I ask you the question as we're watching the game, are they set up and trying to implement the gatekeeping strategy? Were they blessed by zones, or did they appropriately set up to obviously have that great in-game? Talk to me about their mid-game, their start, and how they finished.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a basically bread and butter Hisoka big brain call on that zone is what that is, right? When you start seeing it pull to that eastern side of the map, you know that Academy is going to be this great place to go ahead and set up, because when they're sitting there, they understand a lot of these other teams are going to have to push upwards towards them. We saw they're kind of just set up on some rooftops, on some low ground. They're able to use some loadouts that are there as kind of a heady, and you just catch all these teams who are trying to just grab space. And when you have that squad just denying so much area and rotations, you basically force all of those other teams to go underneath, and we just watched squads fall one by one as that happened. It was a great position. Before we went over to them, they were nowhere on that leaderboard.
That's right.
After that sort of zone where they're able to catch all those people, they're sitting up there second, right below Echo.
Well, game number 1 is done. 5 more games to go. Let's take a look at our standings after game number 1 has concluded. Who is on top of the leaderboard? It's actually Team Falcons. The eliminations was enough. Second place got them up to the top. 17 elims, 30.6 total points. And then we got Team Echo. We talked about how good they are playing through injury, but more importantly, playing out of their minds. They currently sit in second, and in fact, the most eliminations out of the entire lobby. Nice to see FIFA Kill, Juki's, Lennon, they're in 3rd place. And, well, Enigma, you covered Omit EU. There they are in 4th.
Yeah, absolutely. Big fan of Omit EU and what they were trying to do in terms of the fundamental positioning, the early rotations, basically changed their drop spot, apologies. But I think one of the things as well when it comes to Omit EU is that they are, you know, I could accuse them maybe of not pushing up that church strong point that you had for Falcons. But what I will say is with the Falcons play in particular that you brought up there, Dandro, one of the things that Soka loves to do is trying to take that early strong spot and then use the out of bounds as an area to really seal them off. And I think that was the difference maker between the two teams there. I think if Omit EU go for that church spot early, they can make that same play instead. So fine margins, but seeing a lot of EMEA presence nice and early.
I mean, dude, I love that. But I also got to shout out Heeds for that 1v2 on.
Oh, nasty.
My God. That was the 180 just choke slam on people. I was like, oh wow, like great positioning here. I'm like, oh, okay, we're shooting nukes today. I love it.
All right, well, FIFA Kill and his crew, they did an incredible job. Currently sit in 3rd place. We actually had a chance to hear from FIFA Kill. Let's hear what he had to say.
Series of Warzone here in Las Vegas. I'm here with Team FIFA Kill, and that is going to be, of course, FIFA Kill, Lennon, and Juki's. It's fair to say, lads, it's been a bit of a rocky road. Can you talk about why it's been a tough year?
I mean, we had a good start in the group stages with, I think, 4th place overall in Europe, and then an update came out, our buy station left, and we didn't know where to land anymore. So the rest of the story has just basically been trying to find a home for us.
I know that you are talking... Where's Liam gone?
Wait, what? He was literally just there. Not again.
We got an interview. Oh, come on.
We'll come back for that on Sunday.
What are the real expectations for your team this week?
We're one of those teams that it can all come together on the day, so I think we have a very high ceiling. I think on our day we could definitely get a top 3 for sure. I mean, it's LAN. LAN and online is so different. We haven't really been able to play on equal ping. On the EU ones, we played a lot better, and we've all got experience on LAN, so I think that's going to play in our favor.
You two in particular, what does this guy bring to your team?
I think the most important thing he brings to the team is kills. It's usually our top 5.
He's very good at breaking down a team, deciding strategically how we're going to do that, where we're going to get the opening knock, coordinating where we should be to break down a team.
Liam, you're not going to get away with just having your ego lifted here. I'm going to ask as well, what do your teammates bring to this trio?
Liam brings an extra set of eyes, but I don't mean that. I mean, like, his vision is great in the team. And get my trade as well. Sometimes if I get full kill, he'll get the 2-piece, even if I don't get a knock. Len's very good at that, and FIFA's good at leading us around the map, you know. I'll pick the fights and maybe coordinate the fights, but like wherever we fight, like what area we are, that's all on FIFA, and that obviously comes with a big part of his brain. I think he's one of the smartest players to ever grace the game, so I've got one of the best gunnies, one of the best brains with me, so that's what they bring.
So we've got one of the best slayers, one of the best supports, one of the best leaders, 3 great gentlemen of the space. I'm looking forward to watching you do something great this weekend, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that was Team FIFA Kill here at the World Series of Warzone Global Finals in Las Vegas.
All right, well done, Enigma, keeping Jukies in place. Reminiscent of their qualifiers, Jukies, I felt, was always away from the team trying to get eliminations. This time they come together. They're in 3rd place. They're looking good. But the question is, who is going to win game number 2? Well, let's find out. Let's get game number 2 started. Spider Tiff goes. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Desk. I gotta say, that might be one of my favorite interview pieces I've ever seen. It happened on the map, but FIFA Kill was able to make it to top 3. A great start for a team that, frankly, I think a lot didn't expect a lot from. So it's good to see them near the top. The big note from that last map, though, Tiff, it's math, right? You get 7 kills, you multiply it by 2, it's 14. You're not in the top 5. The Falcons are on top because of their kills.
Exactly, and at least double digits are a solid start because we did touch on that. The Desk talked about it earlier, those advanced starting points going into tomorrow when we have that race for 150, but we're just getting things kicked off. And honestly, to see FIFA Kill in that 3rd place, right? Because we're talking 2nd through 5th, you're going to get 30 points for tomorrow. And imagine what that's going to do for them if they can keep that momentum moving forward and keep a hold of Jukies. Now, that's something that happens in game and IRL too, apparently. They were walking around the casino floor the past couple days, and he like literally was feeding his arm through Lennon's like hoodie. He was like, please, you just have to keep a hold of me. Someone get that man a leash. Like, I'm talking a child backpack or something, and just hold him down.
Well, it was FIFA by himself at the end, right? And to the top 3, but the 3rd party was the reason that they were able to get some extra points and be out on top. But again, we talk about the math, we talk about the multipliers. This is the key part of this competition. You've got to make it to in-game, but you got to make it to in-game with kills. So Revenge Tour definitely enacting revenge and up to their namesake, but yet again, not a lot of kills to go around. So again, 14 points. That's kind of our metric right now. And again, when you're trying to get the amount of points that you want for tomorrow, we're looking truthfully for top 5. That's where you're getting a majority of your points. Win 40, top 5, 30. That's a great start to tomorrow.
Well, hear me out. The Revenge Tour, they kicked things off. They've shown us they can win, but now we need to see the eliminations to go through it. So let's get ourselves in that plane. We're looking down the barrel. We're getting into Urzikstan. Let it rip. We've got game number 2. Let's get into it.
Well, the Falcons are at the top. The question is, will they stay at the top? You know how many days Urzikstan's been around? 283. You know how long the Falcons have been at the top of Urzikstan? The whole time. Shifty has earned $500 every single day since the map dropped. It's unreal. This team is uncanny. They've earned $300,000 on this map alone. Are you kidding me? Somebody take them down. We'll see what happens. Take a look at the map. Take a look at Popov. Looks like we got a couple squads headed that way, including FIFA Kill.
Hey, look, I love when you want to get aggressive, but it's back to that contest that occurred at the start of map number 1. Turn your attention over here towards High Rise. Now, this resulted in a few trades back and forth, but they didn't have an actual loss, right? Scummin kind of maintains that position, but they're ready to run it back. They're like, all right, cool. If you want to give us some elims, we will take them. And honestly, I'm just waiting for the angle. But he's got a PA in the back pocket too, and I kind of like that already.
Look, this is one of the most hotly contested, but also highly anticipated drop spots of this entire tournament. There's been a lot of smack talk between the two, and with Noobs into the mix, getting cut down immediately by Scummin. This is looking a lot of the same of last map. Let's see if Scummin can continue up the reign of terror. And yes, immediately, 1-2, buckle my shoe. Where's the third? See you later. Head to the Gulag Vitality. Wow, what a start again for this squad on High Rise.
That's a commanding victory in a contest if I've ever seen it. They didn't even get the fool on Dongy, because you can see on Rational getting him back up on his feet, and that's 3 eliminations that they'll kick things off with. But back to Bazaar we go. It looks to see that Resolve may be the only one standing.
Yeah, history repeats itself in High Rise, but this time in Bazaar, it's a little bit different. Panda in trouble, Resolve in trouble, and gonna lose this one. Might get one.
Os brasileiros vão bem nessa daí, mano.
Is getting out of here. That is a loss for the side of Panda, so we'll count it 1-1 overall on that fight in Bazaar.
Can we talk about the preemptive of the shooting out of the zip so they can't go over there and just get on it? Regardless, they have maintained Bazaar for themselves, and considering where the circle may go, this is a nice space to claim for yourself, especially that buy station, all the loot to go alongside it. You can see Resolve there taking that Gulag victory against Patsuka.
Yeah, all right, we're getting back into the mix, but you're not going to go back to Bazaar, that's for sure. See them flying around trying to figure out where to go. And while we watch this Vortex team, Reply Totem again is who they're representing. This is a really strong team, a team that absolutely obliterated the competition when somehow they were forced into position in the finals where they didn't really do what they wanted to do, and then made it into LCQs and ripped everybody apart. So be curious to see if they can continue some momentum after a win in Bazaar. But to Destroy we go, and got a lot of fans of Destroy and a lot of fans of Aiden. The question is, which fans will be cheering here in a moment if Destroy decides to take this fight here in Oakland?
I mean, look, if we want to talk stories, we want to talk longevity, it's that Aiden roster. Think back to 2021 Verdansk NA Trios. Team Aiden takes the win and does substantially well, but we want a return to form for them. And talk about that consistency that they've been bringing to the table throughout scrims at a lot of the tournaments leading up to World Series of Warzone. They have been just improving, and it's been so nice to see that. I think a land buff can really do them well.
Yeah, I do.
Lembrando que os jogadores aí, todo mundo tá jogando com 160 de FPS, hein? Cravado, hein?
To potentially play for second. And well, as we're talking about them, they're wiping an entire squad and moving on their merry way. So we're going to continue to show some of these hot spots. And back to military we go again. Showstopper, a great third party before. This time a true 3v3, and definitely going to the side of this squad. Showstopper on your screen, a fantastic player, has been putting on a show for us all the way through regional finals where they dominated their competition and looking to dominate this Blast team. See it to the Gulag. We'll go and we'll see what they're able to do on the regain. This time military base goes to the side of V8.
Oh, hear me out about this roster. Enigma was talking about them, especially the momentum they've carried off of EWC, bringing it in. This is a squad that has the potential to pop off on LAN, especially day number 1, acquiring that. And if you're going to absolutely steamroll through that squad, I mean, Gabe looked lost there, right? And just circling things up as we get here, seeing where those teams are coming in from. Look to that northeastern side of things. There's still going to be a lot of those rosters that run straight into each other, but then look towards the northwest, Goj.
Yeah, we got a free Popov. It looks like maybe FIFA kill or probably Juki's,
That's
frankly.
Juki's. 100%
that's gotta be
Juki's on the
Juki's
bridge
by himself right now, trying to catch up with his teams. But yeah, the Falcons obviously have a free Popov. They're going to be rotating in, but the circle here is obviously denoting that we're going to be heading towards somewhat centrally located. I'm thinking likely Lowtown area. There is a circle that likes to end on that Lowtown area between that and Farms potentially. But here's Cloud9, one of the first looks at Cloud9 we've seen, and apparently on their back foot as Juki's has regained and rejoined his teammates.
Yeah, look, they are just making their way on over through this area. And look, if we're going to focus on making sure that we get rid of that trophy system to bring in a lot of the utility that we've got, I'm a little worried about Foreign Jace here on that high ground, which is nice. But if you peek for just a bit too long with the prowess of these weapons that we have, you can easily get 3, 2, 1. You're already aware of where that lookout is. And Joel and Breadman are kind of able to fly free and look for those eliminations in close range engagements.
Yeah, and Cloud9, again, they've kind of changed up their drop spots based on scrims.
O LAN e o FIFA e o Jukes, todos eles estão com
There's a chance they rotated over from that, but they had been landing kind of outposts and then rotating down to central zone, and that's where they're at right now, obviously. This Old Town, Low Town area is where everybody's going to try to be, so getting here early is nice. Getting some extra intel is fantastic. And got a bunker buster in pocket just in case somebody decides to push them.
When you think of macro strats, a lot of teams look for bunkers, they look for foresight, they look for all of the information that we can get. But the fact that we're ripping an intel contract right away from where Thor and Jace was on that roof, right? But they invest that bunker buster. They kind of cause a little bit of chaos over there so they can full send this. And that is just an exceptional way to approach it. Now that you have that next circle information, you can come up with that plan. And this is the most, okay, look, FIFA, can we get out of there? I'm so glad you're a better driver than me because this is a little ridiculous, but let's get on the move here because this is the most cohesive time I have ever seen Team FIFA kill. Like they said, shambles this roster was in, but now different story.
Yeah, it's really easy to keep a player on a leash if you just stick them in the car and say, you gotta stay with us. But to a team that has had some
safety protection in the back.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Okay, yeah, lock the doors for him. You can't get out. To a team that's had actually a lot of roster changes here. Dizzy coming in as a sub for this event as their third wasn't able to make it in. Looking to find Clavson on the other side. Apparently not the first team out, but looking to maybe be the third if they get cut down here. Clavson, Gooey, FLS in trouble as Dizzy, their sub, comes in and finds his third elimination already here in the second zone. But here comes two. Dizzy almost wins it both, and unfortunately doesn't look like Vita's there to clean up, which means we don't get a clean trade, which means it's a 2v2 for this fight. Luckily, catches one in transition. FLS did not hear the footsteps.
Look, FLS made that a little tough there, but I'm glad that we were able to get that going, get the buyback, and we can just keep on moving. Still 8 minutes into match number 2. Only 3
agora,
squads have fallen, and I'm loving the regain that we are seeing. Subs, sometimes you gotta have those super subs, but turn your attention.
Oh, Husky. Acertou outro.
We saw these squads kind of be a big mainstay towards
Jackal, Huskers, Galink.
Jackal, Huskers, Brawling. Where were they in match number 1? But
tá vindo aí, hein?
actually check in with him here.
Yeah, there's another big pickup on
Puxou pra cima do NG Vieira.
Vieira coming in.
Coitado do NG, já era NG. Já era NG.
Likely in transition. Little smoke and run, you never
Meu
know.
Deus.
Even somebody that shoots it straight, that's Huskers.
Já era pro NG
Chance, my
Vieira.
friend. See you later. Huskers reaping the edge of map. And now we're going to move closer to center as we take a look at
Coitado do NG.
Who's our first team out, Miles? We've got an award to hand out. Let's see who it is.
We do have an award to hand out. Noobs, what happened, baby?
Meu Deus, os brasileiros estão sendo amassados, mano.
A few PC issues the last 2 games, but I think we got it sorted out now. It didn't help, but we got something in the work for the next map.
What have you got in work for the next map? Any sort of teasers you can give the fans?
O NG caiu sentado com a bunda no chão, mano. Foi destruído, velho. Coitado do NG.
My man, tight-lipped, I appreciate it. How are the guys feeling though?
Que vale competir, né, mano?
Game 2.
We were expecting a little bit better, but I think we can regroup for sure and try out for the rest.
Wish you the best luck, man, and indeed, hopefully this helps as a good luck token for you going into the next game. Thanks very much, mate. Back to the casters.
Thank you so much, Miles, and thank you, Noobs. And I do believe their tricks might be changing drop spots. I'm not sure what's happening at high res, but they're not winning it. But apparently, this
Lá
squad
vem o Colony 2.
is winning a lot.
Pegaram helicóptero agora.
On Team Colony 2K, a very strong performance in the last one.
Nico, Colony 2 e o Watchwaldo.
They're going to make their way to zone and set up for new as we swing over to the other side. Opal
Será que eles vão ganhar essa segunda, mano? Drop, mano.
team locking
Esse segundo drop, mano. Vocês vêm por ali, hein?
a bit of reprieve to refuel back up.
No, I love that we're going to hit the double smoke and kind of get on out of there, especially when you've got other squads like Team Valor, like Omit NA in that nearby vicinity across the road. So invest that drone to go find some of your information and make sure, like, hey, we want a third party this. We don't want to have that occur to us. So as long as you can keep tabs on that, especially with Youngsta's Juju just being such insane firepower, it looks like they may already be a duo, but keep your eyes on this battle here. Destroy, Raul, they're on the high ground, looking down the barrel at FIFA, but you know what? They are all three together. This is a different story we're talking about. If we rip Juki's out, because it's wall bangable, I'm a little nervous for that one.
Yeah, this is such an interesting spot as well because it's a very easy position to third party, fourth party, or more. You see 4 teams on our mini map. You can see Super Evan squad, a team that hasn't been in the limelight in a while, but really did a fantastic job during the regional finals. They won the very first map of the day and set the tone for what the pace would be in